party continues. The party's the best. Undefeated in New England. Come get me. This is my house. My house.
Stayed on me here, I took it from zero to flame. Saying I read it for miles. The shit wasn't luck, they got me fucked up. I put your own bus and take you around. A couple of guys inside of the school, I gave them the tools to get it off ground. They say they're the ones when they make the airs, can't look in the mirror. That shit wild. Stand on the stage, I give them the rage. I'm turning it down, containing, can't follow it. Doing the streets, we do it for keys, we do it for rights. I'm 52 weeks, the shit ain't for pleasure, I'm coming to tweak. The shit is for heaven, and did it, up in here, we write it and rapping and write it and rapping and right.
What makes me excited about Ticketry as a company is you saw a need in an industry, and that's exactly what Cage Titans was. When I was a fighter, I saw that the experiences weren't great for fighters, and they really weren't great for fans as well. And similar to you guys in the ticket industry, so to be partnering with another Plymouth company, which is near and dear to my heart, being in Plymouth, which is our home for Cage Titans, it just made sense that you saw what we saw. Give the fans a better experience. Just buying the ticket doesn't end there. There's collectibles and merchandise and perks and all the things that you're going to give them this amazing experience. And that's what really excites me. And it just so happens you guys are here in Plymouth, which we love. We love Plymouth, America's hometown. Tickets for Cage Titans 69 are on sale now. So don't wait. These tickets will go fast. 2025, let's go.
Let's go, baby! Here we are indeed.
Pull the trigger on our faces a little soon.
It's all good. Whatever. Phrasing. Calm down. But hey, 2024 is officially over in the next 36 hours. Happy New Year, everybody. We made it through the holidays. The home stretch is here before we're all back to business, hitting the gym and getting ready for Cage Titans 69, baby. But we got a year to wrap up.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
So we got a year to wrap up, a year in review, if you will. We've been discussing the past couple of weeks all the
There we go.
finalists of the year for knockout, submission, all the best performances, best moments of Cage Titans, and we're going to give some accolades to the nominees and drop the winners tonight, as well as
Have some of the winners calling.
Yeah, we're going
We
to
got
have
some
a few
surprise call-ins. And
that we do.
yeah. So yeah, man, it was honestly, we're a day away from the end of the year, and overall, we've talked about it. We've hammered this out. I mean, this was definitely one of those years you look back at as monumental. I hate to always throw all like the biggest fight card, the biggest year. I hate doing that because I just feel like that's promoter talk where it's just like, it's just BS, but it's just like, it was hard to argue. And as we talk about these awards and we announce these winners, I'm sure some of the fighters there was something about this year that just felt a little bit extra.
And I'm with you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not into blowing smoke up my own ass, but the proof is in the pudding. It's real. Like, this was a monumental year. The main events, show after show after show, just kind of kept escalating the history behind some of these fights, and then the way that they delivered.
Yeah.
The way that it encapsulated the building, how the decibel level of noise just maintained through the entirety of all 6 shows that were put on this year. It was a different level than the 8 years I've been involved in. Obviously, the 15 years since Cage Titans has started. It's a decade and a half in, and this is where we're at, and it really felt like that big of a year. So it's not bullshit.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the year. What we got for Joe? This year was filled with bucket list fights and returns. Yeah, absolutely, man. So many things. Quick shout out to our fans. As I said, because of Instagram settings, Instagram only allows you to go live for less than an hour. So if we're still on air, best bet is to hop over to our YouTube channel to watch it kind of uninterrupted. So yeah, just to give you a heads up on Instagram, and also the framing isn't ideal for Instagram. So if you are watching, you guys over on Instagram, appreciate you watching. But just to give you a heads up, YouTube, Facebook, those are probably some of the better ways to
Vintage with Facebook.
Take it in. Yeah, take it in. But either way, yeah, man, it was an awesome year. Listen, there's no doubt about it. Awesome year. And I can't wait to announce some of these awards. I will say that some of these awards are extremely difficult. And just to kind of lay it out there, we've talked about it before. The way the awards go, we do have the fan voting, and we allow the fans to vote, and that plays up a piece of the awards. Then we have media, and then we have a panel. So we compile all three, and then we look at, who comes out on top. The reason being is we love the fan interaction. We love the fan involvement. But it's just easy to say that certain fighters have a lot more robust, rowdy fans.
It's a prowess online.
So
differentiating.
There's some fighters that don't have social media, so they didn't get a lot of votes. So we kind of, just to be clear, we kind of, compile the media, the panel, the secret panel, so to say, and then we have the fan vote, and each get a percentage towards the winner. So just to get that out there in case somebody's scratching my head and be like, I know all my friends are in the comments voting for me, and somebody will actually go and count all the comments. There's comment votes. There's the actual ballot votes.
We don't need any letters from any accountants.
Yeah. So there you go. So there's a whole bunch of ways to vote. So that's kind of how the voting plays out. But yeah, this year was very difficult. Andy and I, on the way into the show tonight, we talked on the phone like, all right, man, some of these are like,
literally today you called me like, what do you think? I'm like, think it's tonight. What do you mean? I'm like, what do we think?
Yeah. And some of these were literally come down to it, like a deadlock tie. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Some of them learning right now because it was like, I got no say. I'm driving.
Yeah. So
I'm driving home.
So yeah. So there you have it.
You pick.
I don't know. So we do have some guys calling in. I think we got I'm trying to figure out the best way to go about it. I could go, you know what? I'll go to this one. This one's pretty simple, straightforward. I don't think it's going to surprise anybody. And we'll just go. We want to go. You want to start right at card of the year? Card of the year. Screw it. Let's rock. So card of the year. No big surprise there. I guess, Andy, we should probably shift, but now we're good. So
Mike
card of the year.
Yourselves.
Cage Time 66, Giannetti versus Barrett. No shock. This was probably the reason I started with this one. This was probably the one fight, one category that won hands down. This was the winner on the fan vote. This is the winner on panel. It was the winner on the media. So this was a no-brainer. Fight card of the year, Cage Time 66.
66, the number of the beast, and what a card it was. It was absolutely beastly. It was all fights were incredible, but all culminating in that main event, from the announcement of it, the surprise press conference, all the way up until the announcement of the winner of that razor-thin split decision that was back and forth fight, like incredible fight. All of the developments in between, it pretty much is why that was head and shoulders above on all facets of the voting for the panel for card of the year. Cage Titan 66 was a night to remember.
Bryce Ramos, even though Pete won, that card was too good. I mean, honestly, like that card was insane. I'm actually going to throw something up right here because when I was coming up with this, I wanted just everybody quickly to remind you, like we all talk about Pete and Barrett. I'm sorry, Peter Barrett and Joe Giannetti on that card, but just take a peek at this fight card right here. You got Barrett Giannetti. You had Smythe Valdina on that card. And let's shift here so when we're on the screen we can kind of, you have those guys. You got Haley Emporia, which was a back and forth war. Hillary Rose coming back and winning the rematch against Golfin. Kyle Hill's standing rear naked choke and Tricelle. You got Curly and Martin, which is up for fight of the year.
So loud in there for that. Those amateur title fight.
Colin Robinson winning his second title. Then you go down, you got Stephen Hill, which was a knockout of the year candidate. For a little while, Silver and Gomez, it didn't make the cut, but it was an honorable mention for fight of the year for the Amies. Gomez had an armbar submission, which is up for sub of the year. Batar was up for sub of the year. This fight card, though we talk so heavy about the top, this was a fight card that truly was amazing top to bottom. and very deserving of the award. So congratulations to everybody who was part of Cage Titans 66. For winning Card of the Year. So there you have it, guys. Our first award, which was the easiest no-brainer of the award ceremony. There you go.
There were some good ones throughout the year. I mean, 67, I think, was Jay versus Jay. And that was Don versus Jerry was the co-main event for that.
That was a crazy card.
Two Fight of the Year worthy nods right there, but 66, that was the one from start to finish, from initial announcement till the end. That was craziest.
Yeah, so there you go. So congratulations to everybody who fought on Cage Titans 66. And honestly, congratulations to everybody who fought at Cage Titans throughout the entire year. Like, it was an insane year we keep talking about. It was pretty incredible.
You're never going to get a participation trophy, but you'll always have our thanks.
Yes, there you go. I'm going to stick with awards. We should do. I thought about doing a trainer or coach team of the year. That's something that we always try to kind of bring in. So that's something that we'll probably maybe next year that will be a debut. So thank you for that idea, Aaron. Aaron, who constantly hits me up, he wants to fight. Aaron, I know you want to fight. January 25th is a little overstuffed right now. But March, I know no fighter likes to hear next one. I will try to get your fight locked in before January 25th, so it's 100%, and then maybe we can bring in the cage and announce it. So that's the best consolation I can give you, Aaron. So there you go. I'm going to go to the next award that I think was another one that was unanimous across the board, and you might find a common theme. But next up, we're going to go Moment of the Year. We had Peter Barrett versus Joe Giannetti finally. We had Jaylen Brown in the hall, which I've talked about as a cool moment because Jaylen was there in the past to see a friend fight Lionel Young, and then he came back to this event just as a fan because he had such a good time. So that was a cool moment. We had Ty Law in the building, Patriots Hall of Famer, New England Patriots Super Bowl champ, all that. And then the USA chance has been going strong at our intermission. But I don't think it's going to be much of a surprise. Once again, Peter Barrett was Peter Barrett versus Joe Giannetti, the Cage Titans Moment of the Year. Finally, it happened. Move that way a little bit. So, again, we're going with the no-brainer categories right out the rip. Moment of the Year. This one on our panel fan voting. It won across the board. So this was a clean sweep of the award voting right here. Barrett versus Giannetti.
And it goes without any surprise right there. We're echoing from the last award that it just won, being the pinnacle of the Card of the Year. From announcement to fruition, the intensity was throughout, and it all culminated into the moment that had even more history than that 8-week span of fight announcement to that. It was 8 years of history leading up to that moment.
It wasn't 8 weeks.
where a lot of the people that were there to witness that fight knew the backstory, have been involved or at least adjacent to the whole entire historic process between these two Cage Titans legends finally meeting in a main event. And then the fight just ultimately delivered in.
Let me ask you this, Andy, because we're looking at the picture there. What is going through your head in that moment?
Nothing. I am totally out. I am staring into both of their souls simultaneously as best as I can just to try to get a read, but there is no read. It's just blessed to be in the middle there and feeling the intensity in between. Anytime I get to do that, like it is weird. I kind of shut off because I know I got to talk about the fight in a minute. There's no real insight that goes in, and you're just sitting there like, oh, this is gonna get good. That's really it. Like there's nothing really going on, but every now and then when you're in there, you just smell how good a fight's gonna be just in that stare down. And this was no doubt one of them.
Yeah. I'm always curious because you're right in that mix, man. And there's no There's no nothing.
Yeah, no, there's an
it's all you
atmospheric
guys.
buzz in there like no other when there's a really heated fight ready to take place, and you get a taste of it at the weigh-ins. They get that final stare down. It's kind of there, but this is it. I'm literally putting hands on you in 10, 9, 8, and it's just a different level. But
there you go.
This was unlike any other.
Cage Titans moment of the year. Peter Barrett versus Joe Giannetti, finally. So there you go.
Shit gets intense, dude.
It was really intense. Honorable mentions back to School Drive at the Christmas Toy Drive. Yes, shout out to the Cage Titans community. The Back to School Drive we started this year, Backpack Drive, and then we followed up with the Adopting 2 Families over Christmas. So shout out to Big Mikey heading up that committee. So there we go.
The newly married Big Mikey.
Yes, congratulations, Big Mikey. So there we go. Card of the year, moment of the year, both going to Peter Barrett versus Joe Giannetti for moment, and then card Cage Titans 66, which was the featured main event. Next up, what do we want to go to? Let's see what else we can go to. What do you want to go to, Andy?
We're waiting on some people to call in too, so I don't know who else.
People to call in, so let's go. Where do you want to go?
Who's not calling in? We'll walk out.
We can go to the awards, and then if they call in, we can talk to them.
Do the walkout then.
All right, cool. So next up, we got walkout of the year. You got Maga Man up there. He kind of looks like Colby Covington in that picture up in that corner.
Mm-hmm.
We got Colin Silva with the Maga walkout. We got bottom left. We got Jerry Muse with the Bye 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 Deadpool in the background. I think he had Spider-Man in there too. Everett De Soleil with his walkout dog and the headdress. And then Ozzie Martin versus Jaden Curley. You see Jaden Curley pictured there, but just the overall intensity of that walkout. You see here Jaden staring at him as he's walking down to the point that the referee had to pull him out of the corner. So very intense. Those are the walkouts of the year. Andrew Mack, I thought Colby Covington as well. That's not a Colby Covington walkout. But another category, no surprise. Walkout of the year, Jerry Muse. Bye, bye, bye. We should just rename this category the Jerry Muse category.
I think he wins pretty much every year with his ensemble, with his choreography.
Yeah.
And the man can fight really damn good too. So, like, don't ever judge it when he's doing his dance routine. He's ready to throw down and put together some skills in a dangerous fashion, but he always makes the most of these walkouts as well. So we had a couple of good Jerry Muse routines this year.
Yeah, and I think what is interesting, for this specific category and walkout is, like, make no mistake about it, Jerry Muse is a killer. This kid can fight. And that was something that, Don Shanus kind of learned. He joked around like, hey, man, does this kid take this fight game serious? And, does he? And it's just like, he was fighting some lower end competition when he was doing these walkouts in the past. Then he has one of the toughest fights to date with Don Shanus, UFC vet, all that. And he's coming out just having a good time. And then he just chucks knucks, as you like to say.
Yep.
And they were throwing down. Great walkout. Jerry Muse, bye, bye, bye. Walkout of the year. Again, I will say that this was Andrew Mack wants a nominee because he was the one that suggested bye, bye, bye. But I'm pretty sure he danced with the fans. Yeah, he did dance with fans too. I will say, actually, great point you bring up, Nick Miles.
Yeah.
Ozzie versus Jaden was it won the fan vote category, but it came up short in the panel and the media. So this was actually a very close call on who was going to win this category. So Ozzie's fans showed up, and Jaden brings a huge level of people to the crowd too. So, like, both guys are big ticket sellers. Both guys have big fan bases. The fan base showed up and showed out for these guys. It won the fan vote by a slim margin, and then it lost out on the panel and the media. But honestly, it was a tighter category than I thought, because I think that the impression that the Ozzie and Jaden walkout, though it wasn't your normal, like, flair, there was no extra props and dance moves. It was just an intense fucking walkout.
It was also
for the title.
It was also Cage Titan 66,
which
at that
everybody was all jacked
that
up.
DEFCON 5 level of that we talk about the bulge point.
Yes, the breaking point.
We were at that breaking point, and it sustained for a considerable amount of time. So that was about as intense as that building can get.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Jerry Muse wins walkout of the year once again. Shout out to Jerry. I believe Jerry might be calling in later, and maybe we'll kind of catch up with him and see what he has for his, for next year, what his plans are. So we'll see what happens.
Excellent.
All right, cool. Next up, I believe, I think he's calling in. Let's go to this one. I think next up this was a new category. Was this a new category? Performance of the year?
No, we've done it before, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I lose track.
All right, so next up, performance of the year. This is a category that, might not necessarily lead to a knockout or a sub. It could, but this is one of those categories where just like overall the performance of the fighter is just lights out and super impressive. We look at the top left, Mitch Raposo, just really showing up and pitching the shutout against Justin Valentin, who was a top-ranked guy, and showing really the level that he is above everybody on the local scene. Lorenzo Fitzgerald, unbelievable game plan, stuck to his game plan, and came out victorious over an undefeated amateur and pro in Brody McDougall. Hillary Rose just chopping that tree down. A leg kick stoppage probably for the first time ever in Cage Titans history. It was, this is what I'm going to do, and there's nothing you can do to stop. That was that performance. And then Chris Martino in the rematch against Johnny Cupcakes, lights out, got the finish. Some great performances.
Yeah, but when all 4 nominees there, when they showed up that night, they could do no wrong in there.
Yes.
And that's why they got the nods for the nominations. But
there we go. So performance of the year goes to Mitch Raposo, which no surprise there. Mighty Mitch, main event, first event of the year, pitches a shutout, finishes a guy who's never been finished before, and Justin Valentin punched his ticket to the UFC, which he'll be fighting later on, beginning half of 2025.
And there was it was a fight that was talked about for months to follow. I had plenty of friends of mine that were just like, that kid was on a different level, and he really was. Justin Valentin is as durable, tough, and skilled as they make him, and Mitch just was on a different level that night. Took the red pill, as I like to say. When you enter the Matrix, Mitch was in the Matrix. He put on a flawless fight. Stuff in the wrestling, hands look great, and then ultimately got a finish for the first time against Valentin. So,
and right shortly thereafter, punched his ticket to the UFC. We have our first caller, so we're going to jump to his announcement and his award so that we can go over it. But first up, this is the first time we've ever done this award, which was Return of the Year. And this is just an award that either, some of the people like Jorgen, Chris Motino, they hadn't fought for Cage Titans as pros. They had their amateur career with us and moved on to the UFC and other promotions. And they made their return to us this year. Bottom left, Hillary Rose, her return was more, she was on a 3-fight skid, returned to Cage Titans last year, avenged the loss, got that leg kick stoppage win as well, and kind of returned to form, vintage Hillary Rose. And then you got Jacobo Apito, who's, after a pretty tough loss about 5 years ago, kind of stepped away from the sport, and he made his return this year, went 2-0 on the year, had a great year after a 5-year layoff, and refound his love to the sport.
Renamed it the I'm Back Award.
I'm Back, yes.
I'm Back is what we initially named it, because in case y'all forgot, these are the names that returned in 2024 and are now back being staples at Cage Titans.
So without further ado, the winner of the I'm Back, first time ever, the man himself, Chris Motino, the soulless one, a great performance. Andy, what do you think about that fight?
It was absolutely incredible performance. It was, his jab was on point. His distance management was incredible. And, 3-time, 3-weight champion, never fought a Cage Titans as a pro, went on to have one of the most decorated professional careers in this region, and took a decade for him to fight as a pro at Cage Titans. So it was an honor to finally have him finally call one of his fights. And I can't believe I've been doing this show 8 years. This kid played over my house at least once a week and doesn't even give me a heads up that he's calling in tonight. What the hell? First time ever calling in to Table Titans. What's good, Chris?
What's up, guys? What's up?
My
I
man,
didn't
calling
do- I
in.
didn't do- I didn't do that on purpose, bro. They literally just got a message like an hour ago. So
I got you, dude. I'm busting your balls. It's all good,
Oh,
dog.
this is my break at work, bro. I'm just fucking. I'm
All right,
dying.
we won't keep you long, Chris. Honestly, we couldn't even get you to call into the show when you were fighting, and here you are calling in. So it's an honor, man. It's been wild because, you know, back when you fought for us as an amateur, you know, 3-time division champ, I don't think that will ever be done. Insane accomplishment. I honestly don't think Cage Titans was the level that it is today. So, you know, we have a lot of rabid fans now, but back then we weren't that promotion. And I think that this is a fitting award for you to win because it was like a return and a reintroduction. Like, yo, Chris motherfucking Motino was the man 8 years ago before some of you people in these seats even knew what Cage Titans was. And you reminded them all that night. What was that performance like for you?
It was great in all sorts of levels. You know what I mean? With all the backstory and back history with that dude, it meant a lot for me to go out there and do what I did, and just coming back to Cage Titans, which it wasn't what it is now, but it's the biggest show in New England now, and you guys do a great fucking job, and you guys put on a show that unlike any other show that I've been on. So it meant a lot to come in, get in there in front of the crazy fans over in the hall, and yeah, man, I really appreciate y'all having me and letting me get out there and do what I did.
No doubt, man. Honestly, it was tremendous to see you back here. Listen, 5 wins in a row, man. You got to be done with this local scene. You know what's next for you if it isn't the UFC? I know I heard some interviews talking about maybe bare knuckle, things like that. You know, you got any plans for the future?
Yeah, man. Obviously hopefully it's the UFC within the next couple months. Hopefully something short notice pops up. But realistically, if not, I'm just gonna stay active. Probably get on a local show, February, March, and then after 6 fights, if they don't take me, there's my my bare knuckle soiree. I'll go out that way. You know what I mean? My last few years, getting my face cut open with some no glove fucking violence. You know what I mean?
Listen, man. After watching your last fight with Cupcakes, I got to say, if you're gonna do bare knuckle, you got to do the game break because your elbows. I've been a long time since I've seen somebody to be able to utilize all the different strikes. Your hands are on point, but your elbows too. So make sure you get something that's not just hands because you got some devastating elbows too. Is he frozen? You
Yeah,
like that
we'll try a little bit of both. You know, who knows?
Nice. Hey, let me ask you on a personal level.
Definitely.
You know, you talked about Andy. Andy obviously has talked about announcing you. You've known Andy. Did you feel any little extra, like anything extra tingly, like him announcing you or anything?
It was great. It was great having him out there and seeing him perform. You know what I mean? Up close and personal, man. I try to tune everything out and zone everything out. Me in there is just focusing on my opponent. But it was cool to have my brother finally announce me and announce one of my fights.
Yeah, it's funny because we
on it too, but honestly, he didn't even know I was there. Like in the case, he didn't even know I was in there. Like, he was on his own. I knew that.
Well, it's funny because we talked about it because he was like, "Hey, listen, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna announce this fight because Chris is fighting." I'm like, "This is could be a once in a lifetime opportunity to announce one of your best friends, and you may never get this opportunity again. Like, why would you're both performing in your own respective areas in this sport, MMA world. I thought it was a beautiful moment to be able to have you guys do that. So I know it might not mean much in the moment because you're focused and you were staring a hole through Johnny Cupcakes. But looking back one day, you know, hopefully you guys have those pictures and those memories.
Oh, for sure. It was
Never going
my
nowhere.
brother. That's my brother forever. So I can't wait. One day we're gonna be old fucks sitting around talking about this shit. So it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
There you go. Well,
Indeed.
I know you got your break, and I don't want to take your whole break up, but listen, you know, it was an honor to have you fight for us this year. And you know, if the UFC's a bunch of idiots and they don't call the sign you, and you need to get another win or so, you know, we would be honored to have you again, whatever the future holds for you. You know, we're excited to see whatever the future brings. If it's with us, if it's not, we'll be cheering you along in the UFC. Delay.
Yeah, I'm frozen over here, but it's
All right, he's frozen. All right, Motino, anything last year, the fans that support you, you know, over the years, before you go, give them a little shout out, anything you'd like to say to the fans?
For all you guys that love me, hate me, I love y'all. Thank you for always supporting, and tune in for the next one.
There you go. All right, my man. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Take it easy, Chris. I'll see you later. Love you, brother. Take it easy. Dude, he's back. Mutino, the return.
The soulless one.
24.
We got him to call into the show.
Yeah.
That's no joke. I said to Andy when we booked that fight, I'm like, you got to get him on the show.
There's no way.
He's like, no, he's never calling in.
Not calling in.
And then when he showed up today, like 20 minutes before we went off the air, I'm like, yo, Chris is calling. He's like, that motherfucker's calling in. He never told me.
I had no idea, but yeah, that makes sense. An hour is, yeah, I'll take it on a lunch break, or yeah, made perfect sense. And it's probably the most we get out.
I didn't want to push my luck. That's why I was like, I'm going to keep him till 5 minutes. I don't want to push my luck.
Well, I want to touch back since we got Captain America.
So we got Captain America. So we got 2 new callers in. We have one that I'm not going to say his name because we haven't done his award yet. And we have one Captain America who we've already announced his award. So we're going to bring him on. But just as a reminder, Captain America right there, Jerry Muse, bye, as our walkout of the year. 2nd year in a row. He's got something going on. I see somebody filming for him. But without further ado, Captain America.
Are you guys looking for Captain America? Hold
We're
on
looking for
one
Jerry
second.
Muse.
Is he
It's rock climbing.
Is he rock climbing? Here he comes. Here he comes. They got the worst internet there. What's up, my man?
What's going on, Mike?
The walkout of the year, man. This
Don Shannon.
we might as well name this the Jerry Muse Award. What goes into planning your walkouts?
Who's planning my walkouts?
Yeah, who plans those? Who's planning?
You know, I get a lot of input from everybody, but you know, to be honest, Andrew Mack can't take all the credit. I see him saying that he deserves to be on the award, but you know, it's a group effort. I would say that one I have to give a lot of the credit to Deadpool and Spider-Man, because I have a bigger walkout that I've been saving was going to put all the prior walkouts to shame. But that one, it just made sense because of the Deadpool movie.
Honestly.
Does the next walkout include a rock wall? Because that was a pretty impressive walkout to this reception of the award.
Well, you know, you guys know I like to make a dramatic entrance.
Listen, honestly, Muse, I talk about this all the time. You know, with all the joking and the good time, it's a breath of fresh air with these fighters, and it's a reminder to people that though we're fighting, this is a sport to a lot of us, and we're enjoying ourselves. As weird as that might sound, and you're always coming with that smile, you're always coming with that great attitude and having a little fun. But you can also kick fucking ass.
Yeah, you know, you got to be able to fight in this game for sure.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
You know, like you said about it, the fighting, you know, you kind of have to have a humble attitude, right? You know, Cage Titans. First off, you know, thank you for the award, but you know, Cage Titans is a lot of effort that backstage. I know the fighters, we get all like the We're like we're in the spotlight. It's easy to get like sucked into that. But we have to thank all the fans, thank everybody that runs the show, from you to Andy to everybody that's doing security to the concession.
Oh, he lost his connection. Honestly, we can have a whole episode with Jerry Muse. He's a character, and I wish we could have caught the end of it. It looks like he must have lost. Andrew Mack said they're running Wi-Fi on a potato. We usually have some bad Wi-Fi down here in the basement, but he's having some bad Wi-Fi.
Hey, he's busy. One walkout of the year. He's rock climbing right now, having a good old time. So thanks for calling in.
Thanks for calling in from the rock climbing world. And you know what's funny is the odd thing about Jerry,
he might drop in from the ceiling next walkout. I wouldn't be surprised.
The other thing with Jerry is I don't know if he just happened to be at this rock climbing place and called in, or he very may well have went there and this was a plan, like when he knew he was going to win the award and he sought this out because he thought it'd be a good idea. He's always thinking of stuff. But
it could be either.
He called back in, but his camera's not there. Oh, hold on. We'll try to get you one more second, Jerry. What else you got? Send us a parting word. Now he's just on the rock. All right, give us some parting words, Jerry. Anything to say? All right, we gotta let Jerry go. You're back on, Jerry. What do you got to say to everybody before you go?
Oh, nothing. Thanks to everybody, especially Spider-Man, Deadpool, John, Video Tong, Loco Lobo, and thanks to Cage Titans fans and Cage Titans for making everything happen and a great show. 2025, it's going to be a good new year. Might be my last year fighting too, to be honest. At least without a gun.
All right. Well, Jerry, we appreciate you. And if this is your last year in 2025, make sure you put a slot in for one of our Cage Titans dates. We'd love to have you.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think he cut off again. He was frozen. But Jerry, if you're still listening, we appreciate you, man. 2025, let's get you slated in. We've talked about a few opponents. So maybe we can get you in for that March date if you don't have anything on the books. So next up, man, I wish we could have got Jerry in the good Wi-Fi area because he's always got something good going on. But either way, he'll come back to Cage Titans, and that's a segue into our next award, Comeback of the Year. A lot of nominees for this. Jorgen De Castro versus Joshua Marsh. Though it was a one-round fight.
Jorgen was out on his feet.
Out on his feet in this fight. Then you got Jay Presley versus Johnny Cupcakes. Presley down probably 2 rounds to nothing. Had to get the finish in the third round and was able to pull out that finish in the third round. Julian Menjivar versus Jake Bernard. Jake looked like he had him on the ropes, was going to finish him and end the fight, and then quickly the tides turned and Julian Menjivar got the finish. And then last but not least, we got Anthony King versus Noah Sklama. Probably fresh in people's mind. That fight was insane at our last Cage Titans.
Vivid paint job.
Paint job. Yes, absolutely. Sorry about the technical difficulties, Captain America. Don't worry about it. We'll get you back soon. But either way, the nominees for Comeback of the Year and your winner is, any surprise? Anthony King. Anthony King versus Noah Sklama. Comeback of the Year. As you guys repeatedly said, the Blood Gods were satisfied. This fight was unreal. Like, we watched it. This was one of the fights, actually, that we had to kind of, go back and forth and watch the fights. And it was just insane, man. Dude, from getting dropped, Anthony got dropped in the first round right at the bell. Looked like they weren't even going to let him continue. Chris Burke was right in his face, making him do, dust the gloves off, walk towards him. Watching the commentary, you guys are talking about it.
Don't know how he's staying standing.
And then for the third round, he eats a head kick. Looks like he's getting dropped. Sklama goes for the body lock, try to go takedown. He hits the trip, just insane. Bombards him with hammer fist, gets the stoppage. Insane fight. And here's your winner, Anthony King. What's up, my man?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Going on.
You're making us look bad. This guy's all professional. He's got the headphones. he's got the muffler on the mic. Do you do podcasting?
No, I mean I stream a little bit, but it's mostly just to talk to my friends when I'm playing games or something.
All right, cool, man. Sounds nice, but hey,
Still
listen,
elaborate.
Man, it definitely looks good. Definitely not what the go from Captain America on a potato to you. It's a breath of fresh air. Either way, comeback of the year, your Cage Titans debut, and how's it feel to get this award?
Pretty good. You know, I kind of expected I expected that or fight of the year either way. I mean, Ozzy and Jaden, their fans kind of took over fight of the year for sure, but not to spoil anything, but I imagine they probably won that. But you know, I went into that fight like 80%, and then I got hit with a hook in the first round from Noah, and I was after that hook that dazed me, and I was on like 60% the rest of the fight after that. So that was just pure dog. I lost all from the start of the fight. I went in there with no speed or power, and I lost all my comp, and like my mind was just gone. I was on autopilot the rest of the fight after that because Noah hits really hard. But yeah, that was definitely a comeback for sure. I didn't know how that was going to end. I just knew I wasn't going to lose. So,
hey, Evan Williams had a question. He goes, Ram Ranch shirt?
Oh yeah. Ram Ranch really rocks.
What is that? I'm too old. I don't get it.
I can't tell you. You got to look it up.
You
got to look it up on Spotify. Ram Ranch.
All right, I'll take a peek. But you know, getting dropped in that first round like that, what are you thinking in the corner? I mean, obviously, you try to kind of give us an overall view, but like, do you remember these moments?
Yeah, actually, I have this weird problem where I start to like think when I do it when I'm sparring a lot. I'll start thinking louder than my actions, almost like it distracts me from the fight itself. And he actually dropped me twice in the first one. I don't know if they counted it, but he hit me with a hook that my legs were wobbled. I was going to fall. I shot for a single just to buy myself some time to recover for a second. And when he hit me with that hook, my first thought right away, I was like, oh, this guy's about to knock me out. I was like, I can't lose this. I was like, I'm not losing this. Give me your leg. I'm going to keep going. And then with the head kick at the end, it was just like that. And then the ref was in my face asking me questions. I was answering them pretty well, I guess, because I'm pretty coherent for the most part. But I don't know. I sat down, and the first thing I said to Lozon and Mike Avila, I said, I just looked at them both. I was like, man, I'm tired. I was like, I'm tired. All my energy was sapped right after that. I was like, I'm tired. And Mike was like, don't say that. He was like, don't say that. And Joe Lozon, I think the only piece of advice I remember that fight was from Lozon. I think he said it twice in between rounds. He said, stop fighting like an asshole. And I was like, oh, I'm trying to like throw hooks with a short guy. I was like, I'm sitting here throwing hooks with a guy that's 5'6". I am fighting like an asshole. So I just, the second round I cleaned it up, and it was just one fuse down the middle, and it worked out a lot better for me.
So looking back at that fight, have you had a chance to kind of sit down, watch it, and what's some things that come to mind? Like what's some like things that have stood out to you when you rewatch that fight, if you've rewatched it so far?
It definitely looked how I felt. It was incredibly slow. I mean, when I'm sparring, it's like when I'm 100, because I don't know if I messed up the cut itself or the rehydration part. I'm not sure. But when I'm sparring, I'm like twice as fast. My light hits are, I think, much harder than what I was hitting him with in the cage. I get like when I'm sparring, I'm not trying to hurt my partners or anything. I'm not even trying to go hard, but I can feel like an impact. I'm like, yeah, if that was 100%, I would knock my partner out with 16-ounce gloves on. And with Noah, it's like the clean punches I was landing, I couldn't feel them. It felt like there was nothing behind them. I was just landing them. I was just landing numbers. I wasn't doing any real damage, it felt like.
Yeah, well, he's a durable, stocky kid, and you guys both were ready for war in there. It was just one of an all-time classic right out the gate. Hard pressed to know that there was only one fight between the both of you going in there. You guys look like seasoned pros that had been in wars of attrition, and you had to dig deep. That's what this comeback of the year award is for. And man, to find that level of depth to peel victory from the brink of defeat, as you mentioned, you were on autopilot the whole fight, and that's just forever, all time.
As you know, it was hard finding you a fight to begin with. You made my job so much fucking harder when you decide. And then, honestly, a little note from Noah. Noah's actually dropping to 45. So I think this was a fight where, like, both of you guys came out that victorious. Granted, you got your hand raised and secured the fight comeback of the year award, but like Noah was no less for wear coming out of that fight. And I know his plan is to return probably in March and drop into 45. So you guys have both made my jobs very difficult. I will say that Andrew Mack said, "Don't fight like an asshole." You should put that on a shirt.
That'd be a great shirt for my corner next fight. Maybe I'll sell that to some fans or something. Don't fight like an asshole. It almost cost me the fight. If I kept on pace with that, I probably would have lost. Probably got KO'd round 2 if I just kept trying to sit there and throw hooks with him. But luckily, Lozon got the good advice.
And Evan Williams told me not to take a peek at Ram Ranch, so I don't know if I'm going to look.
Yeah, don't do it when anyone's around. I mean, it's just audio. You're not going to see anything crazy, but you're going to hear some crazy stuff.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. So, anyways, thank you so much for joining us. 2025, what's your plan? And anything last minute things you want to say to anybody that's watching?
Well, one, for those, for trying to find me a fight, I don't know what all these amateurs are scared of. This doesn't matter. The UFC doesn't care about your amateur career. They're not going to look. Just fight people. That's all I can say to you. And, like Noah, I was told he had trouble finding opponents. I took him because, I was looking for anybody. It didn't matter to me. And I honestly think he was the hardest fight in the division. I think it's only downhill in terms of competition from here. No disrespect. Take it how you want it. But I want to fight in March. I would have fought January if I could, but I only could have started training in the last week and a half or so because the stitches and the wound had just healed up. As you can see, I have a scar here. But so fight in March and hopefully every single card after that for the rest of 2025. Get the amateur belt at lightweight, go pro, and then just start working the pro ranks.
Well, there you go, man.
Definitely already.
I was actually going to ask you that before you left if that cut was still from that fight was almost 2 months ago, and that's still fucking fresh.
This is permanent.
Nice.
Permanent mark from Noah.
All right. Well, you got something to look forward to. Thank you so much. We got a couple fans. Somebody said, this is going to be a joke of my head. Mike, for my birthday, January 25th, you have to perform Ram Ranch in the Octagon during intermission. That's one of our super fan, Evan Williams. His birthday is actually the fight, the night of Cage Fight 69.
Looks like you're Ram Ranching it, boss.
I'm not Ram Ranching it. I'm not going to commit to that.
It might be a better job for Andy.
It's more of a boy thing. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either, but
it's funny. It's funny.
All right, cool. Well, either way, AJ, man, we look forward to seeing you March 22nd, which is the March card. And I look forward to seeing what you do, and maybe at the end of this year, we'll be looking at maybe an amateur fighter of the year at the end of this year if all goes to plan for you.
All right, thank you guys for having me.
Take it easy, Anthony King.
There we go. I got some homework to do. Ram Ranch. It doesn't sound good.
No.
And that was the first thing when he popped up the screen. The first comment that came up was Ram Ranch, pause. And I think pause is like when something, I don't know, maybe back in the day. I don't even know if you can say this stuff anymore, but like when people are like, oh, no homo. Like, remember that? That was a big thing.
Oh, pause is the new homo.
Pause is the no new homo. I mean, again, listen, people are gay. You can be whatever you want. By all means, I'm not saying it, but I think pause is the new no homo. So I'm wondering if it's something to do with that. I don't know. Am I detective? I have my son off screen, and he already said he sent me what it is. So I don't know. I don't know how my 16-year-old son.
Don't be opening up no messages about Ram Ranch from a 16-year-old.
He sent me what it is.
No.
What's up, Cam Arnold? And Evan did give me a warning. Then you also asked me to perform it at intermission, so I don't know about that. I don't know how much I trust it. Anyways, moving on.
Cage Titan 69.
I guess it would be fitting. It would be.
Oh, Michael's gonna Ram Ranch it.
Anyways, moving on.
I ain't doing it. That's all you. If you want to Ram Ranch it on 69.
No, thank you. So we've gone over so far. We'll go real quick. I'm just gonna rapid fire them. We went over card of the year. Barrett versus Giannetti, Cage Fight 66. We went over moment of the year, Barrett versus Giannetti. Finally, we went out, walkout of the year, Jerry Muse, bye. And thank you to Nick for correcting me. It was actually the party was the first ever winner of walkout and kind of the initiator of the walkout of the year award. And then Jerry's won the last 2 years. we went over performance of the year, which went to that shutout performance by Mitch Raposo against Justin Valentine, punching his ticket to the UFC. We just had on our comeback of the year winner, Anthony King. He's still sporting a scar, just had the stitches taken out, which is insane. And that fight was over a month ago. And then we also had the soulless one, Chris Motino, for the return, the back. Could call it the Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back now, I guess not.
James Brown. I'm back.
So there we go. So those are the awards we've gone over so far. Let's go over a few more. Let's see what we got. Tyler Pimentel said it's the new No Diddy, I guess. Okay, so No Diddy has taken the part. Back to the show. It's going to get weird either way. It is your birthday. This calls for another beer. Andy's on his second beer. Don't worry, Evan. All right, we're 51 minutes in. We said we're not going more than 2 hours. We're halfway through with the awards, and we still have the Cage Titan 69 full fight card to give you guys tonight.
Can we do it?
Can we do it in another 2 hours? Let's go.
Hour and 9 minutes. 2 hours. No, an hour.
2 hour total time for the show.
Gotcha.
But either way, here we go. Thank you to the viewers watching. Debut of the year. This is a Cage Titans debut. As you can see, we have Calvin Dalton top right hand. That was his debut for Cage Titans. Then we have Chris McCarthy bottom right, his Cage Titans debut. Kyle Hill's Cage Titans debut, and Jay Presley. So we had the debut. Andy, anything you want to fill in on the debuts?
I just filled a dumpling.
Just gave him a pot sticker dumpling.
Mm-hmm.
So he's eating off camera. Those are good, though. There we go. So those are the debuts. Killer Cal, a couple people calling for. Now, this doesn't have to be your MMA debut, just to be clear. This could be your Cage Titans debut, as a lot of these guys going around the room have fought before.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, all these guys had fought before, but never at Memorial Hall in front of the Plymouth crowd, which is the building has a life of its own. So that's why this award is here for not necessarily just an MMA debut, but Cage Titans debut, and who made the biggest splash this year. But
Mr. Jay Presley. For me, Jay Presley was an easy pick for this. A lot of these guys were, you could easily Calvin Dalton, who called this shot as an amateur debut and then went out and performed the way he did.
Kyle Hill's been dying to get around and fight for Cage Titans.
McCarthy coming up victorious against Jay Perrin. For me, Jay Presley, he's been around for a little while. You trained with him years ago. And he came to Cage Titans, and it was pretty clear, like, we're going to take on the biggest name that Cage Titans has, and Johnny Cupcakes in the bantamweight division. Johnny Cupcakes had the most amount of fights in Cage Titans history, and he still has that record. And Jay came in heavy and hot and wanted to make the biggest splash and the biggest debut possible. And he did so, and taking on Johnny Cupcakes. And the way he came back, he was also up for comeback. The way he came back and finished Johnny like he did, very deserving of this award. And a lot of these guys were deserving. Chris McCarthy, getting a decision against Perrin in his first fight back from the UFC.
Always slim pickings, tough to pick amongst all of those incredible debuts. But yeah, Jay Presley is so excited to make that debut. He was on Table Titans in the lead up to the fight, fighting Mr. Cage Titans himself in his debut at Cage Titans.
Punched his ticket to a title fight.
It really exploded onto the scene with it and made the most of it. And the fight was brilliant. The performance was gritty, gutsy. Had to dig deep and get the finish late in the fight to get the win. So, remarkable moment, capitalizing on it in the fullest and winning the debut of the year.
Yeah, man, and he was up for breakthrough, a couple other awards.
He had
a great year.
Crazy
Fight of the year. He's still up for fight of the year with Jay Perrin as well. We'll get to later. So shout out, congratulations to Jay Presley for his Cage Titans debut of the year for 2024. Moving on, we got our next caller. So we're going to go to an award, crowd silence of the year.
And crowd silencer, it's like we didn't have odds. This is the first year where we've had fight odds where we can actually pick an upset of the year, which I think there were plenty of viable candidates for upset of the year with the odds that we had in. But without it being named an upset. This is more for the traveling crowd. Whereas you're fighting at Plymouth Memorial Hall, you know, we've kind of gone back and forth. Are we a local promotion? It's like, but we are located in one spot. So
England, you know.
when we're in New England, the New England-based fighters are going to have a home base and a crowd behind them that's going to give a volume advantage. So when a fighter that doesn't necessarily have their friends and family within driving distance of the venue, they're not going to book a ticket. I mean, some people do.
Yeah.
We've had plenty of out-of-staters that bring an entourage, but that crowd is there for the local talent. And if you travel and silence that crowd, get a win in a traveling setting, that's what this award for.
Yeah, and if you look at right around the card, you know, Jake Hixenbaum was, up for this award. Mary Rosenbeck, who took on Christina Katsikis. Chris McCarthy, who we just talked about his debut, taking on Jay Perrin. And Sal Becare Vivas taking on Javier Costa. Again, this award is just somebody coming in to, you know, Cage Titan's backyard and silencing the crowd. It just is what it is. It's not an upset because we're not saying one guy's favored over the other. Maybe in years in the future, now that BetMGM picks up odds and does do odds, we will do, you know, upset of the year. But for this is to recognize, and I've always said throughout my years, you know, Cage Titans, we need both sides of the card. And, you know, and we want to treat everybody like they're an important part of the show. And this is a way to recognize some of our artist-staters who might not get that crowd pop when they pick it up. So without further ado, I think this one was a no-brainer for me. This was a landslide victory in the fan voting and in the panel voting and in the media voting. Crowd silence of the year was Jake Hixenbaugh. You know, I think the history of this fight also added a lot to it.
It was a rematch after a no
yep.
contest due to illegal blows, but then
they talked their shit.
Yeah, they really kicked it up a notch, and there was a lot of hype going into it. And Jake Hixenbaugh was able to get the finish with the arm triangle Von Flue modification choke. It was a really, really slick sub. So,
and I think that also you know, when we were talking about like, you know, this award, it was like, you know, he definitively silenced the crowd by like getting the stamp of the finish. You know, Makate was a close number 2, and it's hard to be like, how do you not silence the crowd when you beat an ex-UFC guy in his first fight back from the UFC? You know, but that was a decision. You know, it was a little bit more. This was like just the history on this fight, I think, pushed it to the forefront.
And we've got the man in the wings right now.
And, you know, there was a lot of talk, my man. How did it feel to finally get that win and kind of put this all to bed?
That felt really good. He talked a lot. We talked a lot. And it just felt good to really make him bleed and then silence his crowd. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Good way to start off the year, too.
Nice. So, hey, look, you know, speaking of that, you know, obviously there was some bad blood animosity. Was this one of those good feel-good moments where afterwards you guys talked, kind of buried the hatchet? You know, him and Muse had a lot of bad blood. And then when Muse beat him, they ended up being friends and training partners. Have you guys had an opportunity to talk, or was this is real blood?
We talked at the bar. We took a picture. I haven't really talked to him much after. I don't know. I don't really talk to too many people from New England other than like maybe some of the Nostos guys and like Valadina and stuff, but people in my weight class I kind of usually I'm not really friends with too many people up there in the Northeast.
So what's new in the Hitman's world? You know, how'd you end out the year, and you know, what are you looking forward to in 2025?
I had a fight at the end of the year that didn't go my way in LFA, but that's okay. I've been grappling a lot. I want to start off the year with a bang back in the cage. That'd be good. I want to fight probably like 4 or 5 times this year. I want to fight more this year than I did last year. Injuries last year kind of put me on the sidelines for a little bit. I was supposed to fight you guys in March, and I blew out my knee, and I was out for a few months. So
I was just about to ask about that.
What's up?
I was just about to ask about that knee. That was the last time I had seen you face to face. That was the new issue, but it sounds like you've been on the road to recovery, and like you mentioned, 5 fights is what you're hoping for in 2025.
Yep. So yeah, I was out for a couple months after that knee thing. I came back for the next card to, corner my buddy Dalton. You guys saw his fight, his debut. That was an awesome. That was, my opinion, amateur fight of the year. It sucked like having to sit on the sidelines, but getting back to it, I wanted to fight for you guys in September, but just kind of the schedules just didn't align with how I was recovering and just all that, so I had to fight in October. And I honestly, this year, hopefully we can get that one. Hopefully me and Miguel can get in the cage and we can get at it, because it's kind of unfinished business in a way. There's no bad blood. He's a respectful kid, but you know what I mean.
Hold on, who was that? I missed that.
It was Miguel. I was supposed to fight Miguel Savason.
Oh yeah, let's
So
maybe
that'd
we
be-
can set that up for March.
I mean, it's the day before my birthday. My birthday's March 23rd, so.
So do we make a fight? Who do you want me to hit up? We'll make it official.
I don't care. I'll fight anyone, man. You know me. I fight in so many. I fight in everybody else's backyard, so it doesn't really matter to me. But
Are you booking
that's
your
what
own
you guys
fights
wanna
now, or should I still go through Bone?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I've always done my own fight. Once I went pro, I mean, you can always go through Bones, my coach, but I mean, it doesn't matter.
Listen, man. All right, I'll definitely, after we get off here, I'll throw you a line, and maybe we can get that, lined up, and maybe bring you guys in the cage in January. And
Silence
hey,
another crowd,
next year you could be silencing the crowd again, and we might
Silence
recall this.
another crowd,
We might call it the Hitman Award, Jay Kixenbaugh Award.
Exactly.
There you go.
I fight all the fan favorites, dude. I feel.
What was that?
Said I feel like I fight all the fan favorites.
No.
I fought Jerry there. I fought Aaron. Now I'm probably gonna end up fighting Miguel for my next one. It's just unfinished, so I just felt like that's probably what you guys would offer me first. So
I didn't even. You know what? Until you mentioned it, I totally forgot. Was that the fight where you buckled your knee?
I blew up my knee. Yeah, I blew up my knee in the back. Actually, it sucked. So it blew up. It was all swollen. My LCL was completely stretched out, and a bunch of fluid got into my knee. I couldn't really do anything to get it drained, and I was out till August almost.
All right.
It was
Well,
when I came back.
thank you for refreshing my memory, because I totally forgot, and now you might have made my job easier for March, because I'm already starting to book the March card because we're full in January. So I'll reach out after this, but before we let you go, the floor is yours. Once again, your crowd silencer of the year, Jay Kixenbaugh. Give some parting words.
Yeah, thank you guys for everybody that voted for me. That was really cool. I really like fighting the fan favorites. I like silencing the crowd. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's really fun. Time for another good year. Time for an even better year than last year. This past year, and I'll see you guys in March against whoever I'm offered.
All right, my man. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the award. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Take it easy, Jake.
All right, there you go. I mean, made a fight for us. I mean, made my life easier.
Yeah, we gotta book that one again.
Yeah, that wouldn't be. I mean, I can.
No, they're pot stickers, not nachos. Dumplings.
Somebody asked if Andy was eating nachos. No, they did.
I have eaten nachos on there.
We
before,
have
but not
these
today.
as special at Coops. They're pot stickers.
Yeah,
and
they're
fried.
all gone. I ate them
so
all.
good. They're
So
good.
and
You-
show
would
them
you
to
leave
you.
the extra crispy part?
I didn't. He did.
Let's hear
He
it.
gave me the spares.
They
He had a
actually
couple
can
left
make 'em-
over.
they
and I
can
was
make
like,
'em
don't let those go to
steamed,
waste.
But these are the way to go.
Oh, you got to go with the fried. If you ain't getting the fried gyoza dumplings and you steam, who steams dumplings? You fry those things.
Matty Ice is over on the couch, Mikey. So there you go. So all right, well, crowd silencer, and he called for Miguel.
That was the fight that was and
So-
it never happened. So
Let's do it.
if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
All right, we'll try to make that. David Espino watching. He came by Coops to listen to Andy play on Saturday.
Yeah,
Shout
man,
out to
it was good seeing David Spino.
Yeah. So, all right. So now we've gone over card, moment, walkout, performance, crowd silencer, debut, comeback, return,
Breakthrough.
breakthrough. You want to go through breakthrough?
Let's go. We got a few left, and we only got 55 minutes. 55.
All right, here we go. Breakthrough Fighter of the Year. This is an award that we've put together in the past where, again, you see some guys who've been around for a while, but this is kind of an award where you kind of break out and put your name a little bit more on the map. Sometimes it's just within the Cage Titans world.
You try to run, you try to hide, you break on through to the other side, as Jim Morrison wrote back in the 70s.
All right, Andy, you talk us through it.
Talk us through what?
Go ahead.
These are names that, might have made their debut at Cage Titans. They might have fought for Cage Titans before. But either way, the name broke through to the masses after a performance or a year that they had. And our nominees this year for Breakthrough of the Year, Ozzy Toro Martin. He fell short in his amateur title fight back in 2023, but he broke through in 2024, went on the title run, defended the title, and now he's positioned to make his professional debut. Carter Whitty, another nominee for the Breakthrough of the Year, someone who hadn't had an MMA win up until 2024. He was 0-2 as an MMA fighter, had won kickboxing fights before, but in 2024, he really broke through the mold, putting his name on the map with two devastating finishes that we're going to see highlights of later tonight, because he's nominated for Knockout of the Year for two performances that he broke through with. Jay Presto Presley, we talked about before, won debut of the year with his win over Johnny Cupcakes Campbell, and it was with that fight and his fight against Jay Perrin, the Fight of the Year nominee, that he really broke through on the scene. He had a bunch of pro fights, over 10 pro fights, but he broke through to the Cage Titans crowd this year with his performances. And the champ, John Piersma, someone who upstate New York had fought prominent people all around the nation, fought on big leagues, but then came through Cage Titans and broke through immediately with devastating performances all the way up until winning the title. All four of these fighters embody what it means to break through to the masses at Memorial Hall, hence why they're nominated. And our winner,
and I just got to say on this is an extremely difficult category, especially this year, because each one of these guys are they all had amazing years and all for different reasons. And, but I will say, I do tend to agree the winner of Breakthrough, none other than Carter Whitty. And I think this was a hard category because, you got a guy like Piersma who goes 3-0, wins the title.
well,
You got a
you've
guy,
also got,
but Whitty came to us, and I keep saying this,
you've got
he was an 0-2 guy who was the second fight of the night and was kind of a guy that, again, and I say this with all respect, I mean, Carter, he is the epitome of this. He was just an 0-2 guy that's like a throwaway fight on the card. His fight, he's fighting another 0-2 guy in Jack Noon, and it's just like, all right, cool, whatever. These two 0-2 guys, to the untrained eye and to some of the fans, comes out and unbelievable liver shot knockout. And then it's like, all right, cool. All right, he got a little bit of hype. And then he comes into his neck fight, and it's like one ups that. And it's like now he's the poster guy on this fight. I think he really just kind of took breaking through to another little switch.
All four of them were all four nominees were nominated for their own unique reasons. But Carter Whitty, 0-2 as an MMA fighter going into this year, and just my own personal knowledge of getting rounds at Regiment over the years and knowing just how tough and how good this kid really was. So just knowing that kind of in the back of my mind, as he hadn't gotten that win yet, but the perfect liver shot really threw his skill set on the map. Everybody knew who he was. And then the switch the double switch kick to the face. A monumental year for him. Couldn't be happier for him. He's an absolute dog, and to see him put the year and the streak that he's put together this year, couldn't be more thrilled for the kid. Couldn't happen to a better kid, and beyond thrilled that he broke through the masses and people know who Carter Whitty is.
And
now.
this is also, just to some of the fans, it was insane the way that the voting went on this, and I'll leave it at that. The panel and the fan voting and how razor thin it was, and then how the panel and the media, it was just kind of like any one of these guys. It really was a coin flip. And I think it really came down to
you can make a case for all of them.
All of them, and it's just like
unique reason.
And though we keep these awards kind of to Cage Titans, in this particular instance, I think that we had to peel back a little bit. If you go by process of elimination, Piersma, yes, he broke through at Cage Titans, but he was also a 6-2 fighter going into it as a pro and highly regarded as one of the toughest guys.
Yeah.
Jay Presley, yes, he had an incredible debut against Johnny Cupcakes and had a great year. Came up short in the title fight, but he was also a guy who was a seasoned pro coming into Cage Titans. Ozzy, yes, he went 2-0 and won the award, but we already knew Ozzy was a badass from last year when he won Fight of the Year. Carter was just kind of the unknown.
Totally 180.
Totally unknown. That was just like, who the fuck is this kid out of nowhere? So this is where we kind of had to dig a little bit back. So I think that, congratulations, breakthrough of the year, Carter Whitty. I think even he's surprised. Look at that picture there we had to pick. So next up, you want me to go back to Andy?
I thought I saw a comment.
No comments. All right, next up, we're gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna go to it. I'm gonna say it, but listen, there's not gonna be a surprise here. We're gonna keep the theme.
May as well. All right.
Well.
Hey, there was some great knockouts, though.
There was some amazing knockouts. You got Carter Whitty nominated for the liver shot.
Steve Hill with the nasty old name.
Disgustingly
that was
nasty.
Jake Kasky with the walkaway right hand. That was crazy. That liver shot that we talked about. But you were going to be too. Nobody's disappointed. Nobody's surprised. Nobody's seen anything like this before. And I mean,
this was like Lean On Me. You want to see a dead body?
This was one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen with my own two eyes. Happened so fast. Got to give kudos to Jay Parrott and Hillary Rose for taking the reins of the commentary once it was confirmed that it was a clean knockout, because I thought it was a knee. It happened so fast. And
Mission thought it was knee. A lot of people
everybody did, but no. Clean switch kick, flying through the air, out stiff, frozen pizza. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
And Carter Whitty, I mean, not only is this knockout of the year, AM knockout of the year, this could
nasty.
be the AM knockout of the 15 years of Cage Titans. I'd be hard pressed. He won 2 awards so far. He did send in a video. So I haven't watched it yet. So hopefully it's not PG. Who cares? Let's see what he says.
Hey guys, thank you for voting for me to get this award. Appreciate all of you. Thank you to Regiment Training Center. Thank you to Cage Titans. Can't wait to get back out there in 2025 and give you guys some more of our finishes. Thanks to everyone.
There you go, the man himself.
Few words, big power. I like it.
There you go. I'm going to jump around a little bit because we got our next caller in. So I'm going to jump to a category, which is what are we going to go
We're going with Amy Knockout. Let's go to the pro sub.
All right. Pro sub of the year. Make sure I'm not typing it away. So pro sub of the year, we got that beautiful jumping, flying armbar triangle with Pat Gilbride.
That was nasty.
Andy, that's Andy's favorite, I think.
They were all of them were my favorites. These were all crazy.
We got Zach DiSabatino reverse triangle over Luis Pena, which was.
When do you ever see an inverted triangle?
You guys kept yelling on the commentary. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. Wait a minute, he just tapped. So that was a crazy sub. You got the Tarico Plata that no one even knew what the fuck was going on. I guess it's only been done once. It's only been done once in an MMA fight. So it actually is the second one. But first time that we'll probably ever see that. And the funny backstory is that he called that sub. And then our last nominee, Joe Giannetti, great fucking pitcher. We all know how well Joe's ground game is. Puts Jacob Bone to sleep. Nasty submission. So without further ado, we got Pro Sub of the Year to Mr. Joe Giannetti. Joe Giannetti, Pro Sub of the Year. I wonder if he's won this. He's had to have won this award before. I would assume. But he's going to be calling in a minute. Actually, he is on right now, so give him a minute. We'll have to ask himself. But the rematch against Jacob Bone. First time was a back and forth, slugfest, and a lot was going into this. Joe was adamant that his game was so much more evolved and improved over Jacob. Bone, in his interview, said, "I'm going to show Giannetti that I can take him down, and I'm the better guy on the ground." He went for the takedown in the first round, and I'm sure
We've already talked about the fight longer than the fight itself lasted. So here's the man himself, the winner of the Sub of the Year, Joe Skeletor Giannetti. Long time no see, ever since the Big Mikey wedding, brother. How you been?
Good. What are you guys up to? Well, besides the show, how you been?
I mean, yeah, you're looking at it. You're one of the OGs. You've been coming here since pretty much episode 2, I think. And here we are, long standing after, and you're still winning awards and shit at Table Titans.
Yeah, man, crazy. I don't think I've won Sub of the Year before, though. I will say I got Sub of the Night Miami debut.
All right. I was gonna say, it's what's funny about this award is that so early as we've seen you evolve, everybody just assumed you're a ground guy, and there was a phase of that going into your pro debut and your pro career, you just had subs. And then you went through this phase of, all right, I'm a stand-up guy, to the point that Jacob Bone's I'm taking this kid down. I'm going to prove that I'm better on the ground because I know I'm better. And you snatch this sub. And then now you remind everybody that you're a stand-up guy. You get the switch kick, knockout, and karate combat. Is it safe to say that you're just overall a good fucking badass fighter?
It's almost like I know how to mix the martial arts. It's crazy.
I see you eating now. What have you been up to? Obviously, you had the big win in karate combat. You've already hit the switch kick over Pat Casey. Now you got another viral knockout. I mean, how's life been with Joe Giannetti since Cage Titan, your last Cage Titans over the summer?
It's been good, man. Obviously, the last Cage Titan fight didn't go my way, but we put on a show for the fans, and I had people from both sides of the main event, messaging me great fight, their opinions on the decision. It was cool, it was awesome. And then getting the opportunity at karate combat was just a lot of fun. And that's just where I'm at, having fun with it. I'm training, and I'm just, just like I have been the last few years, I'm just focusing on getting better. And it's just nice to see it actually play out. I'm getting a lot better everywhere. I'm not done with MMA by any means. So I'm still working on everything. And it's just, like I said, I think, whether it's karate combat or whatever, my next fight is going to be very interesting. I got a lot in store.
There you go. This is a perfect opportunity for the voiceover to go. Awards won earlier in the night, Joe Giannetti. Moment of the year, Barrett versus Giannetti. Card of the year, Cage Side 66, Barrett versus Giannetti. So already had two awards under your belt. Here's your third.
Let's go.
Let's go. And then you're also up for Fight of the Year, so maybe we'll be calling you back later.
Hell yeah.
But, going back to that fight, obviously you mentioned it didn't go your way, but you got a lot of, people from both sides. What was it like now 6 months removed? When you look back at that fight, what's some memories that come up from it?
I will say I'm really proud of my friends for not starting fights in the crowd. That I'd say is my biggest thing. I'm still disappointed in my performance in that fight, but it is what it is. All you can do is get back in the gym. But seeing all the nominations, for the card, the moment, the fight of the year and all that stuff, it's just cool being a part of all that. And it's cool seeing that Cage Titans as a whole, whether you hate me or you love me or you hate Pete or you love Pete, you understand that was a big night.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Screw it. You know me. I like to just go off the cuff and do stuff what I want to do. Here you go. You guys also want
Let's go!
Also won Pro Fight of the Year. I was going to try to do that later as one of the bigger awards, but you're here, so screw it.
I already took my edible. You wouldn't be able to call me in 45 minutes. It's too late.
Well, there we go. That's Fight of the Year. Giannetti versus Barrett. No shock there, but honestly, it was an absolute honor sitting cage side for that. And
entire fight. It was a truly incredible fight. Not a second to hang your head
Did
on.
we
I
have
know
Stressed Andy in the booth? I haven't watched that fight back yet. Was Stressed Andy in the booth?
That was actually going to be my next question. If you've had an opportunity to kind of watch it back, is there anything that stood out in your that whatever, but never mind.
My fucking microphone announcing him in that one. I remember that. I was definitely Stressed Andy for many things. It was just like, a lot of that moment went nuts.
No, it's funny. It's like weird. Like when I fight and when I win, there's so many things in my fights that I forget. People are like, oh, that was really cool how you set this up. And I'm like, I did. But when I lose, I remember every instance of the fight. There's never something when I watch a fight back and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that happened. Like I know every second of that fight. I know every mistake I made. I don't even need to watch the fight. I'll still watch it eventually. But yeah, it's just crazy how that works.
I'll let you gauge if that was nervous Andy or not.
I will say, I'm not going to push my luck with you too, but maybe I'm going to get crowd.
Oh, geez, here we go. You freeze up on us?
Look at that. It cut off. Luckily, I kicked the internet on that one, but I'm going to blame myself, so I'm not crying. But maybe 10, 20 years down the line, when you guys are old men, because I'm already old, but actually Pete's kind of old, I can have you guys all over and we'll sit back on the couch and the three of us, and we can reminisce on that fight and watch it together. That'd be kind of
I want the invite too. We could do the whole wall, like the first nervous Andy and the first favorite Titans, and then a few years later, and then there's like a shot.
I feel like Andy will still be too stressed.
Yeah. No, my blood pressure, I've always had problems with it. It ain't going anywhere. So I'm in the right game, I suppose.
I will say, I am glad your fans did not start fights. I'm glad Pete's fans did not start fights. I think I said this and I truly mean it. I think that when you have fights that are so hyped and so looked forward to, it's very rare that they live up to that. And I think that just from top to bottom, you guys, it lived up to it. It was a great fight. There was, though there was one winner and one loser, there's no one to hang their hats on it, hang their heads. I think just overall, it was a great
blessing.
performance. So thank you for being part of, probably the most memorable of the ever moment of Cage Titans, and something that I'll look forward to. I'll look back on years from now. I cried that day. I cried when you guys were in the cage. I'm crying now to think.
Cried 2 minutes ago.
I mean, it really is something special. It's one of those fights that, I love you guys both, and I don't want to see either one of you lose. But it was incredible, man. It's been an amazing ride. Somebody asked if you're going to be back at Cage Titans. I'll say the door is never closed. And you might have texted me the other day asking about a fight.
Listen, I'll say this. I have options. Karate Combat loves me. I love Karate Combat. They're amazing. And I said this after I made my Karate Combat debut. I don't do anything to be I don't want to be the face of the guy that wins some, loses some, just hangs around. You'll either see me, if you see me back at Cage Titans, if it were to ever happen, you're either going to see me coming for it all, or you're not going to see me again. That's about all I can say. But there's many options, and 2025 is going to be a very active year for me. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and that's kind of my feelings. A couple people have asked me, and it's just like, listen, man, Joe has been part of the Cage Titans world since a fat kid in the crowd. Like as a little kid and out of high school or whatever until, now what are you, 30 years old now?
29, relax.
Sorry, 29. So it's been, it's been a 10 plus years ride. And, now you get an opportunity to kind of spread your wings and show the world what we've all known in Plymouth for a long time, that you're one of the best lightweights in the world. And you showed it at Karate Combat. And, if our paths cross and, we see you back in Plymouth, we always want you. But at some point in time, you got to kind of kiss your kids on the forehead and say, hey, go out in the world and show them who you are. And you did that already at Karate Combat. Whether you do that again or Game Bred or still maybe the UFC one day, the world's still here for you, but we're watching from a distance at the moment, but never say never.
Don't start crying on me, but I do appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody at the hall. Whether you hated me or loved me, you went to the hall, you watched me fight. And majority of the time I won. So I just appreciate everybody there. You know, like I said, I fought on the undercard in Miami debut. Half the people there were either rooting against me or didn't know who the hell I was to the biggest main event. So I appreciate everybody at the hall. I don't care who you were rooting for.
There you go. Well, Joe, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon. And that's it.
When do the awards come in?
The awards, hey, you got to come January 25th now, and you got to come.
So here's my question. So somebody asked me on my way home from the gym. So we won card of the year. Does every fighter on the card get an award?
That's interesting because I don't think we've ever done. Oh, we did card of the year last year. That was the first time, and then we didn't give an award. We didn't give awards out for that. So,
I mean, as long as I get an award, I'm cool with it. But I was just trying to help out everybody else too, you know.
That's a great point. We won that by the running up the flagpole. I haven't thought of that, to be quite honest, and no one's asked. Leave it to fucking you to ask me. Joe's just like,
we gotta make 72 plaques now.
Yes. Joe. But,
well, everybody that was on the card, you're welcome.
There you go. So, moment of the year, card of the year, pro fight of the year, sub of the year, Joe Giannetti. Congratulations.
Let's go. Appreciate you guys.
Have a good one.
See ya.
All right, man.
Later, JoJo. Thanks again.
There you go.
Going to this category next since we got this.
We got our
in.
next guy, and
Since
I don't
we're
like
jumping-
keeping this guy waiting.
No, he's been waiting long enough. You can see it. But yeah, this was going to be one of the later awards announced, but the winners in the wings right now. Pro Fighter of the Year. We had some really impressive years from the top talent at the professional ranks. Andrew Valdina going 2-0, positioned himself nicely for a title shot beginning of 2025. Jorgen De Castro, the new heavyweight champ, returning to Cage Titans for the first time as a pro and winning the belt outright. Big year for him, being the baddest man in New England. Slippery Pete Peter Barrett going 2-0, winning the lightweight belt, already won Fight of the Year. And with the year that he had, winning that championship in his first ever professional title fight, one hell of a year for him as well. And the other champ of the year, John Warhawk Piersma, exploding onto the scene, nominated for Breakthrough. Just 3 finishes, couple of undefeated fighters got their first loss at the hands of his man. Andy won the welterweight championship. A monumental year for him as well. Of these 4 fighters, only one can be the fighter of the year, and that is
Jonathan Piersma, Cage Titans Pro Fighter of the Year. I see some people in voting was kind of all over the place. And I'll be honest, he is kind of, to me, it was a no-brainer. And I see some people being like it was no-brainer for everybody else, but there was nobody that came in this year, made his Cage Titans debut. The very next show headlined. The very next show after that headlined and won our title, and then went on to the UFC, road to the UFC. For me, this was just a no-brainer. I mean, he's the only one that had 3 fights under the banner. The level of competition, taking on Everett D. Soleil, Aaron Trussell, and Jack Congdon. The level of competition is second to none.
There was no doubt. 3-0, undefeated fighters that he cracked those goose eggs. That's a big proponent to this. Winning the championship, defending it, and then getting a big opportunity on top of it. Undeniable who the fighter of the year was, and here he is waiting.
And this is why we do votes with panel, because I see people saying Valdina, and Valdina and Barrett, out of all the category nominees, are probably the most popular with the fan base, and that's why we do panel and media awards, so that it's not just like a popularity contest.
Not
because Piersma barely posts on social media.
It was not with no love for Barrett and Valdina, who are immensely popular on social media there, but yeah,
man, this is no brainer for me, and I'm honored to call him the champ and honored to have him as the Pro Fighter of the Year. Piersma, what's going on, my man?
Not much. How you guys doing?
We're living the dream. Pro Fighter of the Year. After you won that title, you went on to the road to the UFC, nursing some injuries. What's been going on in the second half of the year for you in 2024?
Yeah, after the last Cage Time fight, I had the road to the UFC fight. Obviously didn't go my way under, circumstances that weren't ideal, but it was what it is. Had to take care of some injuries, so I'm currently about halfway through my recovery on my knee surgery. Recovery's going great, so I'm ready to get back to it in the beginning of this year and get back after it.
Man, so obviously, you took that road to the UFC fight kind of on short notice, and probably wasn't the ideal situation. What is something that you took away from that experience, though?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't ideal, but I mean that's just kind of how the sport goes. I mean, it's never 100% perfect circumstances, and I signed the contract, so it is what it is. But yeah, it was a great experience. Going out, being able to be in the UFC PI, fighting the Apex, just being, feeling like a UFC fighter for that week I was out there, was definitely a cool experience. But also motivates me to, once I get back from the surgery, work even harder because I know I belong there, and I know I'm going to get there even if it is delayed a little bit. But yeah, it's just exciting. I'm just excited to get back and just continue with the momentum I had before that fight.
Nice. That was kind of where I was going. I was like, after being there, does it feel like, hey, I belong here?
Yeah, for sure. I know I belong there. I've known I belong there. I ended up losing a tough decision to a really high level, number one prospect outside the country at 170. It is what it is. That wasn't my best I showed in there that night, but yeah, no, I know I belong there. I'm going to get there. So I'm just ready to get back. And also the other thing is, like, once I get back this year, this is the first time I'm going to be 100% healthy in a couple of years. Like, I fought my last, I think it was 6 or 7 fights on this torn ACL. So yeah, this will be the first time in a long time I'm 100% healthy, and I'm just excited to see, what I can do 100% healthy, like I said.
Now that we kind of brought everybody up to speed on what you've been doing for the last 6 months, the first 6 months of the year, you really just, blew the place up here at Cage Titans, from your debut against Earthquake to your, silencing, all the hype train with Everett De Soleil, and then doing it again with, stopping Jack Congdon. What was that first half of the year like with you and for you, and what are some memories that you look back on those first?
Yeah, no, it was awesome, man. The first half of this year and that run I went on with you guys, going into that year, I knew I wanted to be super. I only got 2 fights in, the year prior. Same thing, some injuries and stuff popped up. So I was like, I'm going to get super active, get this ball rolling. Then I got the opportunity to come make my debut with you guys. And I'd been down there once to corner Arovis. So I was like, yeah, that's a cool venue. Definitely want to go fight. Went down as a great experience. So I think it was, a week later, I got offered the title fight to win the title. Fucking jumped on that. We won the title. And then, the third opportunity popped up, another week or 2 later and jumped on that. So it was pretty awesome. I was pretty much in a fight camp for 5 or 6 straight months, getting those 3 fights in that stretch. But it was awesome. And I loved fighting, in the hall. And it was a great experience. And I definitely want to be against doing it again someday.
Nice. I got a great question here from one of the fans, and he's actually a fellow New Yorker. John, as a regional MMA fan who just jumped on your bandwagon this past year after watching you at Cage Titans, what have you accomplished these last couple of years, and more is more than admirable? Was rooting for you in the road to the UFC fight. You took a hard fight against a young undefeated prospect on short notice, and that was more than respectable. You saw your shot, you took it, and no one can knock you for that. You fought your heart out, and everyone who watched that fight saw it. Can't wait to see what's next. Oh, I thought he had a question, but he was just he's showing you accolades.
I appreciate that.
And it's such a long accolade. I actually can't throw the whole comment up there. At the end, it just says ... But and that's something I've praised Cage Titans fans for in the past. And whether you come in and get booed and it's silent, like if you're a badass fighter, they're gonna respond and become fans. We've seen it with guys like The Party. A guy here talking about seeing you fight and becoming fans. What was it like? My last kind of question to you. You talked about difficulties finding fights, and you kind of had to pop around a few promotions. You get one fight, and I remember talking to your manager. And I'm like, he gets one fight for the promotion, he beats their guy, and then now he does it. Now they don't bring him back. We had a unique opportunity where you beat you came to Cage Titans, and we kept feeding you. how helpful was that, towards your career trajectory?
Yeah, it was awesome. Like you said, I've never been my whole career. I've never been a hometown guy. That it's just not really fight promotions that do anything out where I'm from. So I'm never the hometown guy. So I've never been able to get that kind of momentum of fighting for one promotion for a solid stretch and building myself in one promotion. So getting that opportunity in the first half of this year was awesome. Racking up those wins and after the first one, getting that next opportunity immediately, and then the third fight immediately. So it was awesome. Just getting like that comfortability, staying right in camp. 3 fights in 6 months in the same promotion, same venue. Getting comfortable with the people, the fans. It was awesome, and I'm really happy I got to do that last year, and I got those 3 fights with you guys, and it's just awesome. It was an awesome experience. Probably one of my more favorite runs I've had in my career so far. So yeah, it was awesome.
Well, man, we appreciated having you. We're honored to have you as our Pro Fighter of the Year. Honored to have you as our welterweight champion. And once you're healed up, whatever's next, keep us in the loop, and we'll be in touch.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, thank you so much. There you go, Pro Fighter of the Year, Jonathan
Thank you,
Pierce,
Warhawk.
the Warhawk.
Crazy year.
And that's why,
untouched.
honestly, when the voting came out and I kind of saw the way voting went, this was just, it's for me to be able to step in and just be like, listen, man, what he did in the first 6 months, people might forget about it now because it's, what have you done for me lately? But I will say that he probably, I'll go out on a limb, probably one of the more impressive runs ever as a pro. Like, granted,
bang, bang, bang,
fighters
back to
who have
back.
fought for us 26 times, like Johnny Cupcakes, but I'm talking about like a boom, 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 like in 1 year, bang out 3 fights, the level of fighters that he fought.
Really put the work in.
It wasn't like, hey, he fought 2 layups and then got a big win. It was hard fight, hard fight, hard fight, hard fight, harder fight, hardest fight. This guy did it all. So yeah, man, Pro Fighter of the Year, no brainer for me. And Jonathan Pierce. So we've gone over Pro Fighter, we've gone over Pro Fight, and the way he won. Yeah, Willie, the way he won. Yeah, he was dominant.
That was insane.
We left off. We did the Amy KO. We did the breakthrough. We're going to recap them all.
We had pro sub.
Let's go to Amy sub.
Amy sub. Yep. There we go.
Jake Calendar over Xavier Cardona in the top left-hand corner, rear naked choke. Then in the title fight for the featherweight division, Fred Allen Sphere with the arm triangle of Jake Kasky. We got Johnny Gomes with the arm bar. And then in the bottom left, we got Ruben Batar with the Anaconda choke.
And the winner.
Drum roll, Andy.
Call J-Lo.
Boom. Ruben Batar.
Anaconda choke.
What do you got for it?
I said it. Call J-Lo.
It's called J-Lo.
Yeah, the movie Anaconda. J-Lo, Ice Cube.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, throwback. Yeah, throwback right there. Throwback.
I was going to say, like, Nicki Minaj, like, Anaconda don't want, no,
I'm older than that. But no, we went with the J-Lo movie reference for the Anaconda choke. But, yeah, it was
great.
A war of attrition between Ruben and Eamon. Back and forth they went, but Ruben Batar able to slip in that Anaconda choke, was able to keep the grip on it, and Eamon was en route to try to slip out, but nope, had to succumb to the pressure, and it was just a glorious snatch of the neck and a submission you don't see every day. That it's Darce's with the blade of the forearm across the carotid, whereas the Anaconda's the bicep across it, and blade the forearm in the armpit. And
this was, we go back and forth on some of like the way that the voting shifted out. This was unanimous across the board. This was easily fan vote, and Ruben doesn't even post. I don't even know if he has social media. So
he called in one time.
He did call in, but I don't think he has social media. I don't know, but they won the fan vote, they won the panel vote, they won the media vote, they won across this one won across the board. And back to basics, they're turning out to be a little a tough school. Jeff Perez, former Cage Titans fighter, they busted on the scene this year. Ruben went 2-1 on the scene. and his teammate Eric Wynn went 1-1 on the scene.
Big things coming out of Back to
they
Basics.
got Jacobo Pito from their school as well. So big things for Back to Basics in 2025. As Willie says, very similar to Skeletor's Joe Giannetti. So congratulations, Ruben Batar, on your sub of the year. So what else do we got? Did we go over AMI Fighter of the Year?
No, we didn't.
AMI KO, we did.
No, we didn't.
No, we
did
went AMI KO.
Yeah, we did do
AMI
AMI.
Fighter or AMI Fight. So
We
let's
need Pro
go.
KO.
Yeah, you want to go Pro KO right now?
No, AMI Fighter works. It's
We'll
right
go
there.
Pro KO, and then we'll go, because we just did KO, we'll stick with Pro KO. Pro KO, we got Earthquake, Aaron Trussell, knockout of Marty Navis, Cage Side 68. I love this picture. Jack Congdon with the knockout of Sam Watford. I had to use that picture, even though that wasn't the knockout sequence. Mitch Raposo, bottom right hand. Though it's the head kick, it was really the liver shot that kind of set that up. And then the head kick came in the barrage afterwards. And then last but not least, Everett Desailly with his knockout of Lorenzo Fitzgerald. Some insane knockouts, Andy.
And a different blend of them all too. Some flash knockdowns, some that took duration of the fight to take place, and some thunderous happenstance KOs. And we got
The winner?
Please. Everett Desailly knocking out Lorenzo Fitzgerald. And yeah, man, this was one of the more violent ones that we've seen in all years, let alone 2024. I think that this was, by definition of like when someone stands to go, you just got knocked the fuck out. This was it. This was as violent as it gets. It was a bloodbath. And Lorenzo Fitzgerald was hitting Everett with some shots too. Everett had to eat plenty of bombs to walk through and score that knockout. Ultimately, it was the hands that got it. I think it was an overhand left that was the finishing blow after some big right hands, but like the blood.
Did the ref catch him before he threw
No,
his?
he got a couple off on the ground. Yeah, the ref got there as fast as possible, but there were a couple of
I gotta say,
gravitational
I
shots.
feel like there's some photos, like obviously we use Carter Whitty's knockout, and I know what happened with Dalton
Mhm.
English. This actually disturbed me a little bit using this photo, and I know some people have said this photo is sick, and it is sick. It disturbed me a little bit because knowing Lorenzo and such a good guy, like to see like it's clear and like how clear it is on his face and things like I definitely felt a certain type of way using this photo.
It's kind of like Dan Henderson, Bisping.
with Bisping's face twisted around.
Well, I mean,
it is what it is, I guess.
Everybody knows. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough one, and I think we talked about this. Like that was probably the cleanest KO, and I think that was what the differentiator was. A lot of the fan voting came down to popularity. Where guys were winning. Mitch actually was pretty close in winning this category. I believe he was first place in the fans, but the panel and the media sided with Everett. I think Everett, again, a guy that doesn't really have social media, so sometimes in these categories you'll see the fan voting go heavily skewed one way.
It was a nasty KO though.
It was disgusting, man.
That was a nasty
Sean Tingley, that scary thing watching the fight live was intense. That every fight fan wants. Yeah, that was a great knockout, and I think the fan and the media vote was heavily towards that, and the feeling behind it. I just heard from everybody was that was clean. Like that first shot dropped him dead, and that he did get that follow up, but it was like no, that was not needed at all.
That was clean KO.
So moving on, we got all of our awards so far. We're down to the last few. We did Pro Fight of the Year, which went to Giannetti and Barrett. No surprise. We're going to go to AM Fight of the Year.
Some bangers on this one too.
Man, some incredible fights. Looking at that, we got Ozzie Martin, top left-hand corner, taking on Jaden Curley.
Holy shit.
That fight was only 2 rounds, but it was something. This category was very difficult. You have Dalton English against Omar Guerrero. You have Colin Silva versus Iger Zaltman, and then already won comeback of the year.
Anthony King versus Noah
Scalama. I will say that this fight, I guess I'll break it down for you. It came down to Ozzy versus Jaden and Scalama versus King. And prior to coming on air, it was deadlocked between everybody. Rewatching these fights, if you have not watched those two fights, go do yourself a favor and watch those fights. But from top to bottom, from walkouts to everything, that was the deciding factor. Martin versus Curley was your amateur fight of the year.
And I had no say. I didn't even vote. Scalama and King was the bloodbath of bloodbaths, but there was something about the energy of this title fight, and there's something that the title fight itself brings out in the intensity that both of them brought. Jay Curley with the massive takedowns in that fight that Ozzy was able to stuff as the fight went on, and the liver shot finish that he was able to land. It was a back and forth battle. The crowd
I
was
don't think I
playing
realized
tug of
until I
war
watched
between
it.
both of them. Yeah.
Right before we came on air and I finalized these graphics, and we kind of finalized. This was like this was the biggest one that we're like, I watched these fights and I was just like, Curley, actually, I think he rocked him in that fight in the first round as well.
Yeah.
So though the story was Curley as the wrestler and Martin as the striker, Curley threw some hands and he didn't clip him. But then Ozzy stuffed takedowns. So it was like you saw levels in both guys that showed that just the high intensity of the fight and the high level of skill from both fighters they exhibited. You have the striker versus the wrestler, but the striker was wrestling and the wrestler was striking. They blended everything so well. It was so well matched. And the ending, it was an incredible fight. It could go down as like a top 5 Cage Titans of the ever. It's funny that, we said this year was monumental. And don't forget, this fight was on the same fight card as Barrett versus Giannetti, who won Pro Fight of the Year. No wonder why this card won Card of the Year. Cage Titans 66
was insane.
It was an insane fight card. This in the middle of it, and had everybody rocking.
Yeah.
And then to know that
like
we were also
beyond capacity at the building.
We're also going to see Giannetti and Barrett still. It's like, damn.
Yeah, that night was fucking insane.
It was incredible. So congratulations, Ozzy Martin.
We got 2 more
versus Jaden Curley. Between watching Monday Night Football games, sweating out my fantasy championship, anticipating the Cage Titan. All right, now you're going to lose it. Don't worry. It's an hour and 47 minutes. We only have 2 more things, and then I'll get into the Cage Titan 69 fight card.
Or you have to wait till next week.
Oh, we can't make them wait till next week.
Sure you can.
Anyways, next up,
get out of a fantasy league.
Actually, we only have 1 more.
Exactly.
We only have 1 more award to go to.
And it's Pro Ami Fighter of the Year.
Amateur Fighter of the Year. Nominees so far, Ozzy Martin. We just talked about him, 2-0 on the year, won the title as well.
Matt Martinez also 2-0. Pikachu getting the nod. Eric Zane 2-0 at Cage Titans, and Carter Whitty 2-0 as well with the 2 big finishes. Getting a lot of love from all over New England, from New Hampshire, Connecticut, the South Coast. And everybody's in here, but there's only 1 Amateur Fighter of the Year, and that is.
You want to give it to her already?
Why not? We got on the time. Ozzy Toro Martin will continue off the piggyback from Fight of the Year.
Last year.
Yeah, Fight of the Year last year, Fight of the Year this year. This kid is purebred entertainment. Catch him in his pro debut, January 25th. Ozzy Toro Martin, the Amateur Fighter of the Year. Coming full circle and winning the championship that evaded him in 2023, really taking that step up and going on a run, putting some historic moments to rest as an amateur. And now I'm looking forward to seeing what this young man can do as a professional fighter. He's been nothing but big power and pure entertainment when he steps into that cage. So stoked to see what he does.
Insane, man. Insane year that he had, in just like the volumes of fans that he has too. He's,
deservedly so. The kid's a fucking scrapper.
Yeah, man. He was up. He could have easily won They could have won walkout of the year. They could have, he was up for breakthrough. His fans are rabid fans, and this kid's sweep of the fighter and fight of the year. Congratulations to him. And look forward to seeing him in his pro debut, taking on Ron Marshall on Saturday, January 25th. Cage Fight 69.
Marshall's looking trim too.
And that's just the level of guy he is, taking on someone like that.
Yep. We got 10 minutes to go through the full fight card.
Before we go to the full fight card, I'm gonna make you sweat a little bit more, Evan. I am gonna run down the awards one last time, and here we go. Fight card of the year, Cage Titans 66. And there it is right there. Cage Titans 66. Giannetti versus Barrett for the fight card of the year. Next up, we got moment of the year. No surprise there. Peter Barrett versus Joe Giannetti finally. Walkout of the year. Your man Jerry Muse. Second year in a row for his bye walkout against Don Shanis. Performance of the year. Mitch Raposo taking on Justin Valentine with that finish. Great performance, start to finish. Won the Cage Titans flyweight title. Punched his ticket to the UFC. He fights in the beginning part of the beginning part of 2025 in the UFC. That's his next fight. Mitch Raposo, congratulations. Next up, we had him on earlier. The crowd silence of the year. Jake Hixenbaum, a lot of bad blood and hype going into his second fight against Aaron Hughes. He was able to secure that finish and really silence the crowd. Then we jump over to Jay Presley, debut of the year, takes on Mr. Cage Titans himself, Johnny Cupcakes Campbell. Down, 2 rounds going into the third, needed that finish, came out with a finish. What a debut for Jay Presley, and secured himself a title shot, which came later in the year. Then we had this man on as well earlier, Anthony King, comeback of the year, his fight against Noah Sklama. Insane fight. This kid just was, look at his face. He just got the stitches out this past week from that nose. Unbelievable fight. If they stopped that fight after the first round, no one would have blinked. And he came back in the third round and got the finish after eating a head kick. Do yourself a favor, go watch that fight right now. Unbelievable comeback. Next up, the return of the year, the I'm Back award. We had him on. The man himself, Chris the Soulless One Motino, the return of the year. First ever and probably only ever 3-division Cage Titans amateur champ, 25, 35, and 45. Had never fought for us as a pro, went on to the UFC, did all that stuff. He came back this year and picked up his victory. Return of the year. Congratulations, Chris Motino. Next up, we got Breakthrough Fighter of the Year. Kyrie Woody came into this year 0-2. One of the first fights of the night, and, just kind of a guy on the card. And now he's on the tip of everybody's tongue. His performance with the liver shot knockout, his performance with the switch kick knockout, poster boy for Cage Titans 69 on kicking off 2025. This kid has a bright future, and he really broke through as somebody to watch. Next up, Ruben Batar, amateur sub of the year for his Anaconda choke. Congratulations to Ruben Batar. Beautiful submission. Talked about him earlier. He won. He was 2 of the 4 nominees. He picked it up for the switch kick knockout. Carter Whitty, knockout of the year for the amateur ranks. Next up, we got amateur fight of the year, Jaden Curley versus Ozzie Martin. Unbelievable title fight. Defense for Ozzie Martin. Great fight, highly anticipated. Tons of action in that 1.5 rounds that they fought. No surprise here. Amateur fighter of the year, Ozzie Martin, once again making his pro debut January 25th at Cage Titans 69. Now jump into the pro ranks. Pro sub of the year, we had Mr. Joe Giannetti Skeletor on earlier. Pro sub of the year, first time ever for him.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then we got pro KO of the year, Everett De Soleil.
Damn.
The knock him dead photo. That could be photo of the year.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's a great shot.
Yep. And speaking of Barrett and Giannetti,
Another
they
great
won
shot.
moment of the year. They won fight card of the year. Here they are winning pro fight of the year for their monumental battle they went through. And then our last award, we just had him on, Jonathan Pearson, pro fighter of the year, 3-0, won the title, defended the title. Unbelievable year. So congratulations to all our award winners.
What a year 2024 was. Holy shit.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Yes. So, yes, Martin, big future. Listen, it starts on January 25th, Cage Titans 69, and that is a great segue for some fight announcements that we're going to talk about for Cage Titans 69. We just put a bow on 2024. We won't talk about the awards ever again, besides congratulations, guys. And now what Evan's been waiting for.
We're onward to the future.
We're onward to the future. So there you go. So I'm going to keep it quick because we only got 6 minutes. So I'm going to run.
We're really going to be able to do this.
We're going to do it in 6 minutes.
All right, Tim.
No. I'm going to start. We're going to go from the top because I want to talk a little bit about these fights and then we'll run down the amateur fights.
Okay.
So we already went through Tom
5 minutes.
Pagliarulo versus Don Shainis at the top of the card. This is for the Cage Titans featherweight title. We announced this fight last event. Don Shainis came out victorious. He had 3 or 4 names. I had no clue who he was going to call out of the 3 or 4 names. He picked Tom Pags. Tom Pags answered the call. New England Cartel standout, 7-2, main training partner Calvin Cater, Rob Font, all those guys at the Cartel. This is going to be a banger. Shainis is looking. He never technically lost the title because he went on to the UFC as the champ. So we'll call this a defense. The 45-pound title is on the line.
Fair enough then.
Fair enough. Next up in our co-main event, Andrew the Gladiator Valdina, 6-0, takes on Joe the Party Penafiel, who's 5-0, undefeated at Memorial Hall. He is the Cage Titans Bantamweight champion, never lost that title. And the Party versus the Gladiator, man. Another fight that we announced at Cage Titans 68 back in November. We've already been looking forward to this. Speaking of fights that we're looking forward to, we announced this that same night. Greg Jones is back to defend the OG title. The OG man himself, Greg Jones, is fighting Kenny Champion, who is the OG of OGs. Kenny Champion, we've talked about this title, whether it's you're an OG because you've been fighting for so long, or you're an OG because your age. And Kenny checks both these boxes. At 44 years old, he fought for Cage Titans last event where he
former
took out
amateur champion as well.
Former amateur champion for Cage Titans. He's been fighting for, I believe, 10 years. Amateur champion for Cage Titans. Then he beat Aaron Hughes last year at the age of 44. Like, he is a guy that's not competing in the quote-unquote OG division because of his age. He's fighting the young and up-and-comers in addition. So this kid is, like, he checks both boxes. Unbelievable fight. And Greg Jones has looked great. He made his Cage Titans debut at 48, undefeated as amateur, undefeated as pro, 50 years old. It's going to be a crazy night. Kenny Champion versus Greg Jones for the OG title. Next up, this is the fight that we have not announced.
Big announcement.
Big announcement. You're going to hear it here first. Boom. Jack Congdon has announced that he is fighting. You might be asking yourself, who's he fighting? Jack Congdon has never asked for an easy fight, and it's no different here. Coming off his only loss of his career, which was the title fight to Fighter of the Year, John Piersma. His bounce back fight was against a Contender Series alum, which he made look easy. And now he will be taking on Ali Zabian, VIP Ali. Incredible fight at 170. Ali, he holds a victory over Peter Barrett. He's a probably top 5 competitor in New England. Insane fight, and hats off to Ali Zabian as well for taking this fight. You know, this is one of those fights that this could headline a card. It's that type of fight. So you heard it here first.
In 5 minutes.
I'm going to get through it in 5 minutes. So you heard it here first. Ali Zabian taking on Jack Congdon. I can't wait for that fight. I love that fight.
As a banger and a half.
Banger and a half. Next up, we have announced that Hillary Rose, she was in the commentary booth. We have announced that she's fighting. You might not know her opponent yet, but she will be taking on Natalie Schlesinger, coming to us from New Jersey. Natalie is no stranger to Cage Titans. She actually fought for us in amateur and beat Ashley Barrett, who's a teammate of Hillary Rose. So now Big Sis is kind of getting some revenge and taking on Natalie Schlesinger. And this will be at 105 pounds. So this is the first atomweight fight that we've ever done.
Looking forward to this. It's going to be a fun one.
For Hillary, coming off such a great year for Hillary and Natalie. She is relocated out to California, training out there. So we expect big things. I'm sure she's improved a lot since her amateur days, and she looked incredible in her amateur days. Next up, we've already talked about it. Ozzy Martin making his pro debut after an amazing 2024, taking on a seasoned vet in Ron Marshall. Ron Marshall holds wins over Fabio Charant as an amateur, a former UFC fighter. This kid is as tough as they come. He says no to anybody. He's a 7-fight pro veteran. And he's welcoming Ozzy Martin to the pro ranks.
New weight class for him, too.
And a new weight class for him as well. So there are the pro fights that are going down on Cage Titans 69. And now I got 40 seconds to give you all the amateurs. So I'm going to rattle them off. We got 2 amateur Muay Thai fights. Timmy Walsh is taking on Will Latour from Red Seal Martial Arts. And then we have Derek Reed from Marandola Martial Arts taking on Ryan Maniscalco out of Sid Yatong. Those are our 2 Muay Thai fights. Now rattling them down. Rafael Ferreira out of Textera MMA is taking on Ryan Genus from Freestyle Striking. Johnny Gomes from Arandola Martial Arts taking on Matt Martinez, Pikachu. We got Gavin O'Connell out of Mohawk Martial Arts taking on Jordan Tavares out of Regiment Training Center. We got Jack Parry out of Ascension Athletics taking on Evan Hughes out of New England Submission. We got Tito Medina, independent fighter, taking on Matt McIntyre out of The Lab. We have Colin Houghton out of Mohawk Martial Arts taking on Drew Arpin out of Lozon. Brandon Walker out of Ascension Athletics taking on Ryan Kennedy out of Lozon. And we have Tara Walmsley out of Regiment Training Center taking on Ariana Bucaccio. I totally butchered that. What is it? Bucaccio. I like that. Out of US MMA. There you go. I'm 27 seconds over my 2-hour limit, but those are the amateur fights. We have 10 amateur fights on the docket. We have 6 pro fights on the docket, 16 fights. Cage Titans 69 going down January 25th. Can't wait to see you there.
This is going to be insane. 2024 was incredible. 2025 is going to carry the momentum, and it starts with Cage Titans 69, baby. Let's go. All right. 69. Thank you all for everything. Cheers, everybody. It's been a great year. We can't
look at that. We have 69 viewers right now, so it's fitting that we ended on there. Bye. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to all the fighters for Cage, an amazing 2024. Thank you to all the fans for amazing 2024.
Happy New Year.
Congratulations to everybody. Happy New Year. And we'll see you next Monday.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The party continues. The party's the best. Undefeated in New England. Come get me. This is my house. My house.
Stayed on me here, I took it from 0 to flame insane. I read it from miles, and shit wasn't luck. They got me fucked up. I put you on bus and take you around. A couple of guys inside of the school, I gave them the tools to get it off ground. They say they're the ones when they make the airs, can't look in the mirror. That shit wild. I stand on the stage, I give them the rage. I'm turning it down, can't keep following, doing the streets. We do it for keys, we do it for rights. I'm 52 weeks, this shit ain't for pleasure. I'm coming to tweak, this shit is for everything. Hey, yo, we got it and rapping it right, and rapping it right.